right, welcome back to art class. Today we're going to wrap up our onomatopoeia pictures. You will need a few things. You're going to need some markers or something to color with, but markers tend to look really good with this particular project. But if you have to use colored pencils or crayons, that will work just as well. You will need those a little bit later. You will need a pencil and eraser. You will need your practice sheet that you came up with 2 different ideas. You will need a white piece of paper, and this is going to be your final version. Now, before we say that it has to be this normal size piece of paper, what I do want to do is give the option depending on what your need is. You may also put 2 pieces of paper together. If you look carefully, I have this actually 2 pieces glued together, so I have a nice big piece of paper. That is something that you can do. So if you're working on a sketchbook and you want to make yours super big for this project, that is fine as well. Some pictures I can think of would make more sense. So like, here's an example. Let's say you pick the word pop and you want to do bubbles. So maybe you need to draw a person and you want a decent sized person over here. And they're doing a wand with bubbles. So you'd have bubbles and then the word pop over here. You would probably want a bigger space to do that. It also makes it easier to deal with markers. Okay? But not everybody needs that big, but I want to make sure that's an option for you. Okay? The other thing you may want to have is that onomatopoeia sheet from the first one available, and I will try to make sure to have that in this new assignment as well, just available for you to look at. All right, so let's get started. So you've come up with your practice examples, and I have done this so many times, I'm going to do, I don't have to look at my practice example. Last week I did buzz, but I also did a couple other ones off screen that I've practiced. And the one I'm going to do is boom. So I'm going to quickly draw it out, and then I'm going to color it. So most of this part will be in fast forward just so you can see the layout. A couple things I will point out and try to have it on the screen for you. I'll talk about them right now for things that you need to have in your picture. Your onomatopoeia has to be in the picture. It needs to be part of the picture. So an example of a problem here. During our practice, we wrote the word onomatopoeia up at the top. That won't happen this time in the final version. The onomatopoeia actually has to be part of the picture. It needs to be in the picture itself. So that's one. Number 2, the onomatopoeia needs to be wherever the sound is being actually made. That's important. It needs to be actually by where the sound is being made. Number 3, you need to have action lines showing the movement of either the sound or the object, whatever. You can add in, that goes with this, you can add in, like, let's say it's a really loud sound like boom. Maybe you have a star pattern like in the cartoons that does that, so it's a star pattern. Let me give you an example. So boom. Maybe you want it to look extra loud, and then you add some extra action lines going around that. Maybe you want to use poof. Okay, maybe you're doing magic. That would be more of a cloud shape. Okay, and then you might have the wiggly lines. Okay, so you can add in, these are ways to enhance your picture, but notice I still have action lines going with it just to make sure that I would qualify the things that I am looking for when I grade your project. So, all right, so I'm going to draw my picture. My picture is going to be the word boom, and I'm not Okay, so my picture is now complete. A couple things, you can see that mine is, if you can't tell now, is a mic being dropped, but the sound usually comes from the speaker. Yes, there's a sound of it hitting the floor, which is why I have the extra star here, so that there's a little bit of sound coming from the floor, but the real sound comes from the speaker. You know, as the mic hits the ground, it makes a big noise. Okay? I have my action lines, both for the falling mic and for the sound itself. And then I have the sound right next to the speaker where it should be coming out. Okay. Just be careful you're outlining. If you want to outline with Sharpie, you can. It is not necessary if you do a good job of coloring. Once you're complete, please take a photo of it and upload it to Google Classroom, and I will see you in a couple weeks.